I haven't looked yet, but I think part 2 of my amazing look into the inner Mike Baker, stuff that we don't have time to or really care to get into on this here show. You can find it on entrepreneur.com, guys. And even if you really don't want to read it, just please click on it. Come on. I'll whine less about all things career.
But
also, I have to compete against apps now, okay? So just go on there and fucking hit my story.
Through your journalistic research, have you found out if, in fact, Baker does have a dog in the fight?
I'm trying to think of his other cliches.
A horse in the race?
A horse in a race. What can I tell you? It's all going to shit. That's more of a Rogan thing he uses. And then it's just, lots of exasperated. He'd be either a great spy on TV or a good sitcom dad. Very exasperated. So go check that out. It's actually, I will say this. I have to take a look at the edit. I was told last night that it's going to air today. But, Maxim these days takes itself. That was the first profile. They want to take themselves a little more seriously than they used to back in my day. So they cut out a lot of the funny. But this one should be pretty funny. Baker gets a little silly. And you wouldn't think that Entrepreneur would allow that, but good old Dan Bova, my editor, enjoys it. So it's in there, and he certainly knows Baker. But should be a fun one. We talk a little bit more about you. We talk a little bit more about his goofiness on Red Eye.
Yeah.
And I think that there's all new clips.
Still my favorite moment from Red Eye, he was doing the halftime report. He was doing Andy Levy's halftime thing, and he really enjoyed doing diagrams and charts. And in one of them, he did a chart with all the panelists to show how they were doing, and it was a pie chart, who contributed the most or said the most stuff.
Yeah,
I wasn't on it.
And then he would.
And I was like, Baker, why am I not on your pie chart? And he's like, wow. And then he comes up, with his regular bullshit to try to flatter me. And it worked.
Of course, yes. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. Not just a human lie detector. He's a human fake charmer.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a better word for that.
A snake charmer, but fake.
Look, I said it's entertaining. I didn't say the grammar was good or that it was written well, okay? You can't have everything.
Entrepreneur should be out today.
Yes, I think so. I was going to double check and then I forgot.
Great.
Story of my life. But, so please check it out. 2 words, guys. Knee babies. Ever heard of those?
A knee baby?
Yeah, there we go. You're about to become an expert. Thanks, TikTok, I guess. Anytime I start making fun of the whole thing, here we go. And by the way, I love her.
Let's talk about knee babies for a second. And I know many of you out there are like, what the fuck are knee babies? Warning. Once I show you, you cannot not see them. My mate Vaughn told me about them about 3 or 4 years ago, and ever since then, I can't not see them. Here's a few examples.
Oh my God.
That's horrifying.
Those are
knee
altered.
babies, right? There's fucking babies' faces trapped in those people's knees. I don't even know if they know.
That's not real.
So there you go. Knee babies.
I wish I'd done this in summer so we could have a look-see. I bet I got a knee baby.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe Google search an image of me where my knees are showing and see if I have knee babies.
Your knees are too knobby.
Yeah, it does.
It's got knee boners.
Does there have to be excess skin or fat? Is there fat on knees?
But it does remind you of any horror movie where the face is coming out of the wall.
Oh yeah.
Or even in someone's stomach, maybe. It looks like that.
I would hope that the face on my knees would be like the baby Jesus. You know how you find Jesus on a potato, on a potato chip? I would want Jesus baby knees.
That is so you. You know what? The one downside of this otherwise amazing gig is that you got to look at yourself on the screen when we're talking, like where our prompter is, I can see me. And I don't wear this hat often because every time I do, I look like Judah Freelander with AIDS. Because this is kind of like the color scheme and everything. You know, Judah Freelander, he was on Red Eye a couple times. Bigger guy, sort of bad hair like this, and he has the world champion on all the time and stuff like that. Very funny, silly comedian. But, yeah, and he was in he was in 30 Rock, yeah. Let's see if we got a knee baby. Oh, I'm seeing it.
Oh, no.
I am seeing a knee baby. I mean,
that is a tan knee baby.
That is a very Mexican knee baby. An El Nino what's the
Okay, that looks more like Gremlins. My left knee, our right side, kind of looks like a Grinch baby. No?
Yes. Yeah.
Eyebrows going up.
Like a really evil Grinch. Nothing funny about that.
Holy shit, you guys. Why have I never seen this before?
Won't you see it, nay, baby? You can't not see it.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hey, baby.
Our left, my right knee, that is a sonogram. That is a sonogram of a baby.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is insane. Holy shit.
Wow.
You know what? I got to get on Instagram so that I can have thirsty pics of my knees and see for myself. I bet you can't see your own knee, baby. It has to be on a photo.
Probably. Well, yeah, if you're looking down.
But even in a
probably
mirror,
looks different.
I see the photos are just, there's an uncanny valley with photos that you don't get with a mirror.
Yeah.
I don't really like to look at the mirror all that
Wow.
much. Oh, speaking of someone who, if there is any justice in the world, only looks at the mirror all the time.
As he should.
As he should. Hey, sexy game, appreciate sexy game. Guys, let's go to the graphics. There he is. That's another nondescript, vaguely menacing-looking hotel.
Yeah.
How much can you tell us either about the...
This time.
Huh?
I completely scrubbed the background this time for Joe's benefit.
Although I would say the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. It does not seem like the sun is directly in your window. I'm going to say you are facing northwest. You appear to be in our time zone. I could go on.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
So how much of anything can you tell us about this odd, again, possibly menacing-looking area that you are currently in?
No, it's no mystery to it. No mystery to it. It's not
Okay,
odd
well
or
then,
anything.
continue.
Oh, that's all I got.
Yeah,
That's all I
God.
got. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's the
That's
game
all I'm
he
gonna
plays,
say.
people.
So I heard the knee baby thing. That is weird.
I'm so sorry that you were on that lawn. Did you actually see the images?
I hope Joe carries her little knee Grinch to full term.
That's, I think, the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Okay, how about this? I support her right to choose whether or not she keeps the knee baby Grinch for full term.
Absolutely. Oh no, absolutely. It's entirely her choice.
Yeah. Which state are we in? Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
choice here. Well, thanks for joining us a little earlier, buddy. I know you got other vaguely menacing things to do, so just cut us off when you have to go. But certainly a lot to talk about. First of all, I do have one thing that just came out along the lines of you talking for what felt like 2 hours with Rogan about the latest JFK things, which, correct me if I'm wrong, did we really learn anything all that new about the latest JFK revelations? I thought so, too. I felt that Rogan was trying to find something, trying to squeeze a little water out of that rock. But
a lot of people did, and a lot of people will continue to. But I mean, look, the thing that got a lot of people jazzed up was the headline of the agency, was involved. Well, no. Once you dug into it, the connection was that the agency was monitoring the Soviet embassy in Mexico, where Lee Harvey Oswald was trying to make contact, and did make contact with the Soviets because he was busy trying to impress them and join the Cuban Revolution, and so there was no surprise during the Cold War that the U.S. would be monitoring the Soviet embassies.
Right, and was it a general...
Vice versa.
The only thing that I always thought was a little odd about that whole thing was how easily he was able to get back into the United States after living in Soviet-era Russia for as long as he did. But maybe that's how they did it, because they could have him come back here and then therefore keep tabs on him.
Well, yeah, and also, in part, unless his citizenship is revoked because he takes up arms against the United States. Now, admittedly, he did that later on when he killed the president. But I mean, it's still, it is interesting. But some papers get released, and it revives the entire, theory world of who was involved and what kind of cabal was it that offed Kennedy, and
right.
but it's never going to go away as a fascinating point in history, because again it is it's a terrible thing. It was a terrible thing, and most people don't want to believe that one individual with a gun can have such an impact.
Yeah, they can't wrap their brain around the fact that it was just one crackpot who had a couple lucky shots, if you want to call them lucky. But along those lines,
or was it?
Oh, see, now you do that, and my mind starts spinning. It's a riddle, man, wrapped in enigma. It's my Joe Pesci. The family of Malcolm X on Tuesday, the 50th anniversary of the activist, on the 58th anniversary of the activist assassination, announced a $100 million wrongful death lawsuit against the CIA, FBI, NYPD, and New York Magazine. No, I'm just kidding. And the Justice Department, and other government agencies. Those agencies, the family alleges in the lawsuit, purposely concealed evidence related to his murder. Malcolm X's daughters, Quabila Shabazz and Aliyasa Shabazz, there's no Marys or Jills in his family, I think, appeared alongside civil rights attorney Ben Crump to announce the suit. Crump was specifically asked whether he believes government agencies conspired to have Malcolm X assassinated, and he replied, "That is what we are alleging, yes." That's going to be tough to prove. They infiltrated many civil rights organizations. 3 of the men convicted of Malcolm X's death were exonerated in 2021 after an investigation found evidence as was withheld by authorities, and Crump made notes of those exonerations when he said government agencies, including the Manhattan DA's office, had, quote, factual evidence, exculpatory evidence that they fraudulently concealed from the men who were wrongfully convicted for the assassination of Malcolm X. In her notice of claims, the first step in the lawsuit is Lassa Shabazz wrote that the agencies, quote, conspired with each other and with other individuals and acted and failed to act in such a way to bring the wrongful death of Malcolm X. I always say with these things, let's go straight to the source himself. Here is a clip of Malcolm X, perhaps prophetically speaking, shortly before he died.
These are the questions. These are the questions you and I have to ask. How did we get this mind? You're not an American. You're an African who happens to be an American. You have to understand the difference. We didn't come over on the Nita, the Pinta, and the whatchamacallit. We didn't land on
Mike Baker. Mike Baker.
Landed on us. Landed right on
Holy
top of
shit!
us.
Are you kidding me? All right, granted you were probably 3.
Wow.
But I don't know.
Wow. That sounded a lot like Morgan Freeman. So
I'm not saying that you're on. I'm not saying that perhaps Bobby found an app that could do a Morgan Freeman
Dan
voice.
Baker, you're good at detecting voices.
how about that? Yeah. I know. I thought you guys had really upped your budget and called Morgan Freeman and said, "Could you do us a favor for the show?"
He was a little puzzled that that's all we wanted from him. He was expecting a full-on interview, and I was like, no, it's just this bit for Mike Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. And who knows? He'll probably win an award for that one as well. He
Case
deserves
closed on that one. You're welcome, family of Malcolm X. So what, if anything, do you think of all of this? I do have an actual serious clip here as well, because, as you know, we are still the 60 Minutes of Compound. I think that if you are wondering whether or not it was the Nation of Islam that killed Malcolm X, why not ask the Nation of Islam? This is an actual, very real, guys, this will just be part 2, quote from Mr. Louis Farrakhan. Just a national treasure, this one. Although I do like his bow ties. I don't know when the Nation of Islam decided that that was the look. Take a look at this. Is unbelievable. Thank you, Alfred, for sending the video.
You just shut your mouth and stay out of it. Because in the future, we're going to become a nation. And the nation got to be able to deal with traitors and cutthroats and turncoats. The white man deals with his. The Jews deal with theirs. Salman Rushdie wrote a nasty thing about the prophet, and Imam Khomeini put out a death thing on him, and it stands today.
I don't think I timed this well, but you get the gist of what he's saying. Right before that, he actually says, "We took care of Malcolm," several times. I don't know if you see the beginning part of it.
And frankly,
here we are.
it ain't none of your business. What have you got to say about it? Did you teach Malcolm? Did you make Malcolm? Did you clean up Malcolm? Did you put Malcolm out before the world? Was Malcolm your traitor or was he ours? And if we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's admissible in court, but
Yeah.
Hey, look, even Joe is offended by
I don't quite understand, but I'd love to hear Baker's thoughts.
There you go. Well, it was pretty much
I've only got about 30 seconds left before I've got to jump. But yeah, you know, there's other clips where they seem to be implying that you know they may have been somewhat involved or responsible, or you know, who knows? It's one of those things. I don't know that the family's going to have any success with a suit that seems to like just throw every government agency they can think of into a conspiracy plot. And
Truly.
I also don't know whether the people who had been previously convicted, I don't know whether they are now, in other words, I don't know whether it was a legal issue because some evidence had been withheld. And so they're saying that, okay, the evidence is such that they're not guilty clearly, or whether because evidence was withheld, they threw the convictions out.
I think you're absolutely right. I believe that sort of like, I mean, I probably should have like delved more into it, but then I get into these wormholes I can't get out of. But it seems to me that like they were just, they got off on a technicality because evidence was indeed hidden. But I think it was pretty clear cut that these members of the Nation of Islam that Malcolm left were the ones that assassinated him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's certainly what a lot of people think still to this day, but we're not going to solve it in this short period of time. Oh, I mean, maybe by next week's segment we'll be able to figure it out. And I'm going to get busy on that right now.
Please.
I'm going to go. I'm dropping everything else I was going to be doing for the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to go check that out, and then I'll sort out the whole Kennedy thing as well.
Is he being sarcastic?
No, he's never sarcastic.
Okay, well then thank you. Oh my God! Finally, we're going to get the press we deserve.
We'll wrap up those two, and then we'll move on.
Well, now, are you signing off from maybe Dubuque? I have no idea where this man is. Because I know that you had something
Davenport?
later on in the day.
Something with a D.
Yeah.
Davenport, Des Moines, Dubuque. Yeah, no, I'm sorry to have to do this, but I got to jump and run. But I will not do that next Thursday. I will be much more punctual and much more available.
Well, there's a first time for everything. And listen, a Little Baker's better than none at all. Also, think about that as a possible sitcom. Little Baker.
Yeah.
Like, he fights crimes, but he's just this big.
Sure.
That'd be adorable.
He bakes small loaves of bread.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
I guess I should apologize for wasting his entire time with Malcolm.
You know what? It sounds like he is about to jump out of a plane, run across a border. He said it himself. He's got to jump and run.
Oh.
I think he's busy today.
There is a bit of truth in any lie. I like it. That's really good.
Well, that's the best lies. They need to have some.
I have to say, you are starting to impress me. Between several spots ago when you determined, as we found it after the fact, very accurately where Mike Baker was staying hotel-wise, and then that whole Northwest where the sun's going thing that you were doing there, there might be a little bit of an observational possible spy in you that wouldn't just be.
I'm telling you, me watching all of this true crime stuff, it's going to come in handy one day, just one day. That's all you need. There will be one situation where I will say, thank God I wasted hours of my life. And it's not a waste, because it's going to come in handy.
I don't know why any of these stories that constantly they write about with regards to women's obsession with true crime shows, I don't know why they're even being done anymore, because we all know what you've been saying all along. It's that women watch to prep.
Yep.
To prep, to know the ins and the outs.
It's my doomsday. There's doomsday preppers. There's me. It's the same thing, just slightly different.